A servant climbs with a covered dish pressed to his ribs, one shoulder scraping cold stone. Above him, a door opens into a private chamber. Below, boots echo in the hall. The stair turns so tightly that he cannot see who is coming until the last few steps. A mason's joint passes under his hand, tread after tread stacked around a stone core. There is no lift, no wide corridor, no separate service shaft. Yet the household still has to move food, messages, guards, guests, and status through a tower built to resist violence. So why did medieval castles use spiral staircases for strategic defense? The useful first answer is uncomfortable. Defense was part of the setting, but probably not the main reason for the form. The real problem was how to move people vertically inside thick, expensive, symbolic stone buildings while controlling access, privacy, and space. To answer it, we have to reconstruct a castle as a working system, not just a trap for attackers. The familiar explanation is simple. Most fighters were right-handed, so a clockwise stair would put an attacker climbing upward with his sword arm cramped against the central column, while the defender coming down had more room to swing. It feels practical, visual, and satisfyingly martial. Castles were defensive buildings after all, but the idea has to explain more than a duel on a stair. It has to explain why spirals appear in residential routes, churches, and service spaces, why some are broad and ceremonial while others are tiny, and why medieval builders sometimes made stairs that turn the opposite way. The counterexample is not a modern replica or an odd romantic ruin. Nigel Guy's survey of anti-clockwise newel stairs gathered more than 85 examples in castles in England and Wales. These were stairs wrapped around a central post, but turning the way the popular sword-hand theory says they should not. The survey found them from the Norman period onward, and the White Tower even has stairs of both orientations. That does not prove no stair was ever useful in a fight. It does prove that a universal rule about right-handed defenders cannot be the design key. The sharper question becomes, what did spiral stairs reliably do, whether they turned clockwise or anti-clockwise? A spiral stair solved several castle problems at once. First, it packed vertical movement into a small footprint. In a tower or thick wall, every extra corridor cost dressed stone, labor, and usable room. Second, its central knoll made a buildable structure. Campbell and Tutton's study of staircase history explains that many medieval treads could be cut with a piece of the central core from a single block, then stacked into a stable spiral. That made the form economical and repeatable, but it also imposed limits. Blocks had to be quarried, hauled, lifted, and set, so tread size and stair width were constrained by material weight and handling, not just by tactics. Third, the stair organized hierarchy. A castle was a residence, workplace, storehouse, court, and defensive position. Spiral stairs could feed upper chambers without giving everyone the same route. They could connect a hall to a chamber to a chapel, or servants to a room without pushing them through ceremonial space. Fourth, in a defensive building, all those circulation choices had military side effects. A narrow turn slowed groups, hid sightlines, and created chokepoints. Doors, landings, and guardable thresholds mattered at least as much as the direction of the twist. The strategic value was not mainly that a defender got a perfect sword swing, it was that movement itself could be rationed. Follow one meal through the system. At a large aristocratic building site in Normandy, Gaillon, surviving accounts studied by Frédéric Bardati, record workers, materials, transport, and prefabricated stair components. A hard, compact stone was chosen for spiral stair steps, and some smaller stairs sat inside thick walls. Now imagine the carried dish again, not as a documented individual event, but as the kind of movement such architecture made possible. The servant leaves a working area, enters a narrow wall stair, and bypasses the grand route meant for display. The stone blocks underfoot are not decorative accidents. They are transportable units turned into controlled circulation. At each landing, the route asks a social question: who may pass this door, who waits, and who remains unseen? At the top, the stair can deliver him near a private room or study without opening the whole household to him. The design demands patience from ordinary workers, single-file movement, awkward loads, and knowledge of which door belongs to which rank. A good defensive explanation should show up when castles were actually under pressure. Jim Bradbury's survey of medieval sieges follows chronicles and case studies across many centuries. The recurring mechanisms are not heroic stair fights. They are blockade, hunger, negotiation, mining under walls, bombardment, escalade, breach, and surrender. Those pressures gathered outside the tower first, at supplies, gates, walls, and morale. A narrow internal stair belonged to a later, smaller scale of resistance. That absence cannot prove no desperate struggle ever happened on a spiral stair. But it changes the scale of the claim. If a castle's outer defenses failed, a stair could become a last bottleneck. It was not usually the strategic problem an attacker had to solve. Supplies, walls, gates, morale, and time mattered more. Charles Ryder's doctoral study measured and compared spiral stairs in medieval castles alongside their locations and wider building plans. His conclusion is the strongest verdict here. Spiral stairs certainly could help defense by slowing and channeling movement, but their broader role lay in circulation, privacy, ceremony, planning, and status. Directly known, castles contain spirals of both orientations, in varied sizes and positions. Strongest inference, builders chose them because they were compact, buildable, controllable routes through complex stone households. Still disputed, the intention behind any single stair without documents. Unsupported as a general rule, the claim that clockwise stairs were mainly designed to favor right-handed defenders. Return to the servant on the cold stone steps. The spiral no longer looks like one clever sword trap. It looks like a compact control system, masonry, labor, hierarchy, privacy, and defense compressed into a turning route. Modern buildings still rely on hidden circulation systems. We usually notice them only when movement stops. Alright, and that was today's curiosity from Hidden Axiom. We hope you enjoyed it, and if this video answered your question, leave a like, share your next question in the comments, and subscribe to keep discovering. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious.